Nah, screw it. Let's start it now. What's going on, guys? Figured I would do a special. Is my audio on? Let me make sure my audio's on. My audio's on. There we go. Let's get all the kinks out. Thought I would do a special live today, as I probably won't be able to stream tomorrow because at my usual time I'm going to be getting my first tattoo tomorrow. So I'm going to get inked. It's the first time I've let everybody know about that. But yeah, I got a friend who does tattoos, and he's like, "Hey, you want a tattoo?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do a tattoo." So we're doing that tomorrow. Might even throw on the live stream. We'll see. He's like, "Yeah, you could live stream that if you wanted to." I don't know how much. Who said that? Who is that? Clean your desk. Yeah, it's smart. You don't have a name because I'd have to say you're right. Yeah, this does need to be cleaned. This is clean. What do you mean clean your desk? I know where my stuff is. Look, I got. Yeah, I'm just making excuses. This is a mess. Actually, all my tools are located here, here, and this is something that I'm working on. So this is technically pretty clean. It's not dirty. A Maru too. All right. Who? What is your name? You're just a blank space. Whoever you are, I like you. Um, I don't know what to call you though. Uh, yeah. So today I got package after package after package after package after package of work in. So I figured since I'm not technically going to be able to stream tomorrow, because one of my arms is actually going to be indisposed, that I would hop on today and at least get you guys little something, little taste of some repairs today. It's a Saturday. Um, so yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and start with some. I didn't type as to what I was going to be repairing because I wasn't sure. I'm not sure what's in all those boxes. So we'll figure it out as we go. I do know this one came in first a little while ago. Already, look at this. We already got a. See if I can move this over here. Let's get this better situated for repairs. There we go. See, you weren't supposed to see the rest of the desk. You weren't supposed to see all that disgust. Let me go ahead and close this guy up here. And we'll set it off to the side. And we'll get working on this brand new Spider-Man. Already broken. I really don't like putting this on this. Let me grab a one of my photo boxes. Here we go. All right. Let's start repairing. Let's see what this guy's got going on. I think this is a little more of a tougher one. There's a little trick for you if you have trouble like me getting into Ziploc bags. You can just grab them with your fingers and go slide. A little slide action. Some of those guys are tough. All right. So what we've got here is, like I said, the new Spider-Man, and we've got a broken elbow disc, which this is, like I said, not a real easy repair at all, actually. Let's go ahead and knock that out. You can tell it's got this weird kind of shape going on here. The issue that you run in with this repair as well is, so since we have to reconnect it to this piece right here that broke off, so we'll have to first off remove this without breaking the peg. Then we have to reattach this to this. And usually it's not a big deal if all you have is like a hinge like this. It'll keep it in track pretty well. But the problem is that we also have to plug it into here, and it's got to twist, and that's where a lot of the issues come from. Another report that I've been seeing is like, and I think this might have been what happened, was the guy was swapping out the biceps. I've seen that the biceps apparently are swapped, I guess, on the figures. which I'm not sure if that's completely true or not, but I mean, this one definitely says L on the inside, so we know it goes, you know, on the left side. Anyways, I'm not sure what's going on with that whole deal. I have been seeing a few reports on that, but anyways, let's say hello to everybody real quick before we get into this. What's up, my man? Esteban Baratzas here. Nacho's always one of my main men. Geister, Papa Schmitty, what's going on? Nico Hodge, Brian Pena, Ninth Archer Innovations. My God, the incredible double underscore names blank. And yeah, that's good. 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 Thank you guys for showing up today. Appreciate it. Kind of a random. Oh, and Jorge Azur. What's up, man? Did you see me like almost really botch your name there? Just like choked. Let's see if we can't remove this. I think there's a way to zoom in with this guy. I used to have a remote when I first bought this, and now I don't know where it's at. Oh well, I'm sure you guys can get the idea as to what you're looking at. Let's try to remove this. Soul Brother, what's up, man? Oh wait, didn't you have a request? Wasn't I supposed to be like... Wasn't I supposed to say something for you? Hang on. What did you... What did you say? You weirdo. Oh yeah, here's Billy! I'm supposed to say that because there was a Shining reference earlier. That's for you. Also, for those of you that didn't know, this right here, this little drawing... Not this little drawing, this amazing illustration that's down where my hand, see where my hand's at? Look below my hand. Soul Brother did that. He freaking drew that. Hey, Max, what's up, man? One of my my Triple M, one of my favorite clients is in the room here. Friend as well. Mark Max McBurney, which is an amazing name. And gonna be doing probably one of the guys who gives me some of the coolest jobs. I love it when people have different collecting, like not out of the norm, I would say, out of the norm collecting habits. And Max is definitely one of those guys, and I enjoy taking on jobs for him. So thank you for showing up, Max. It's really cool that you showed up, man. All right, let's see what we got here. So what I'm doing here is carefully going around this peg, as there's really no other way to get this thing out of here, and just slowly prying it up around the edges carefully so we don't break the peg, as these pegs do have a tendency to kind of snap on you. What is this? It's like there's something... I can't remember if he was trying to swap this out or tighten it or whatnot, but it looks like he actually might have been trying to tighten the joint with super glue and it got locked. I can't remember, but yeah, it looks like there's some adhesive in here. And that might have been the case, so... Not sure. I haven't really seen a lot of these guys breaking, but I have just seen that that report, like I was telling you about the bicep being on the wrong side. I don't know. Seems weird. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. I'm trying to make sure I know where this connects. Let's take a look at this guy here. All right, so this is our piece that broke off that's going up inside the bicep, which means this is on this side, which means our breaking point is right here. Oh, God, it's so small. Yeah, it's going to be very tiny on the side here. We might be able to make this work. I guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. All right, so we're going to take our drill bit, and what I always want to do whenever I start these is what did I drill? Oh, that's right. I was drilling some sculpt off of something, and oh man, it really wrecked my drill bit here. Damn, that sucks. Okay, anyways, we're going to start with a smaller drill bit because we have a very limited space to work with. And if you're wanting to create a hole in the center of a very small space, it's better to use a very small drill bit. So we're going to do that. We're going to first take this. We're going to see how well this is actually going to grip. What I like to do is try to use the factory pieces first. If these factory pieces don't work, then I'll have to create this out of something else. Which this is a real wild piece. It wouldn't have to be exact, but I don't know. We'll see what we can do here. So what I want to do is grip this piece here. All right, so we've got a nice good grip. You want to put it further down. Don't get it on the tip of this of your pliers, because I could send this guy flying. Let's drop this down to a lower speed, and we're going to drill down the center. Got to get it to catch. Come on. I got all the way through. Let's make sure. Yeah, so we're all the way through here. I didn't go through the other edge all the way to the end. You don't need to do that. If you do, it's not a problem. Just, you know, trying to be careful here. All right, so we have a hole in here. So I'm carefully trying to make it a little wider. These are definitely like some of the hardest repairs I ever encounter. So, hey, my man Rocker Josh, what's happening, brother? Glad you could make it, homie. All right, we're gonna. Let's see. Where's my break? Where's my break point at? They both look so smooth. I think it's on this side. It's on this left side for sure. All right, we're gonna go ahead and not go directly in the center, but kind of off to the side here. So it's not directly in the center, because here's the thing. Usually I don't mind that if it's a wrist joint. You could be right in the center, because that, you know, a wrist is just going to pop on. You won't be able to notice that it's off-centered a little bit. But here's the problem that we run into with this guy. This guy's got to fit not only into this cavity here, so it's got to be on the correct path. It's got to be. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. This is off kilter a little bit. So you've got this piece on half, right? So we've seen this a million times. A lot of times it's in the hip joints where you've got those. It's like a half piece, right, to create a hole. So you've got half that clips onto this peg, and then a ball joint. And if you don't put that in evenly, the way the factory intended it to. So let's say you were to take your peg, and here's your disc that's broken off, correct? It's got to be off to the side over here. If you put it directly in the center and it's supposed to attach to make a hole to the other side, if that is off kilter at all and you try to press that in, it's going to snap this, because now you've moved this over a bit and you're messing with the integrity of that. I hope that makes sense to you. Basically, it's kind of got to be as close to perfect as you can, because you don't want it to, you know, get all messed up. Let's see. Josh looks like he's telling his usual lies. Brian Pena, we all know he's stoked to add another Mikey to his collection because he's Bill's favorite and the best turtle. That's not true. I don't know why you have to do this. I don't know why you have to do. You come in here spouting your lies. Donnie's the best turtle. Come on, guys. My thoughts on the Mezco turtles is they are purchased. That was an easy one for me. I see a lot of people complaining about like $100 a figure. I'm like, do we not? And then there's also the arguments are so pointless. Arguments are pointless. These arguments are so pointless. It's like, yeah, you can get the same price for NECA deals. Then buy NECA. So what? I don't care. It's obvious. Yeah, I know I can get a cheaper turtle from NECA, but I want the Mezco ones too. If you're a fan of that character and or that line and you want to own all the lines, then you're gonna pay what's out there. And $100 for a figure that comes with a ton of hands, soft goods, extra accessories is a good. That's a great price these days. For it's not great. It's not a great price. It is a normal price for Mezco or a lot of like Mafex or SHF or all that stuff. Yes, NECA is cheaper. Of course, it's going to be cheaper because you can walk into a store and buy it. So go buy it. You know what I mean? Like, let people enjoy things. Please let people enjoy things. I can't. I can't stress that enough, guys. I got into an accidental argument with somebody, or he started arguing with me because he thought I was attacking him on Instagram, and I'm not attacking him right now. I was actually trying to support his deal, just to have a conversation with somebody. And it feels like these days that whenever you try to talk to somebody, if you, and especially in a public forum, that if you try to just mention them and they don't know you, they feel like they're being attacked immediately. I've had this happen so many times where I say the exact same thing that somebody says, and they, it's like I say it differently. We're saying the same thing, but in a different way. Okay. If I was to be like, oh, wow, that's a fat dog, and they're like, no, that's a chunky dog, I'd be like, aren't we saying the same thing? You know what I mean? No offense to dogs. I don't want to body shame dogs. I love dogs, but you get it. Um, anyways, I got into a conversation. He said for $25 more, you can get a NECA makes those giant turtles, and they've got all the all the detail and all that stuff. And I'm like, but if you're not collecting quarter scale figures, what does it matter? I was like, what is the argument here? And he's like, look, man, I told you. And I was like, we're collectors. We're going to spend money how we want to spend money, which is what he had said as well. And he's like, look, I already said that. And I'm like, okay, well, I was just supporting your comment. My question here is, I'm not a firm believer of more plastic means more cost. So I don't understand. It's like, yeah, you can buy a statue that's has way better paint apps for probably the same price that you could get a, import figure for. But what is the argument here? You know what I mean, guys? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It just kind of, it's interesting, right? Whenever you step back and really look how people are, and I let the guy know, I was like, look, I was not trying to attack, I wasn't trying to do anything or something like that. But anyways, it's one of those things. Hey, Keeper Creations is here. Man, if you guys aren't following Creeper Creations, Creeper Creations is making these just really cool Hanna-Barbera customs, like Birdman with Avenger, which is amazing. He does these incredible he did a amazing, I have to show you this. I was actually showing my wife this because I thought it was so cool. um hope you're not embarrassed by getting shown off a little bit here, man. um yeah, I want you guys to see this. I think this is super cool, and I was just very, very impressed by this so much. I took like a screenshot of it because I wanted to show this off to people. Um, I'll see if I can do this. Um, so this is his like Birdman custom, but look at this like really cool. He did this in Inviso Shield, which it's actually kind of hard to see where the thing is actually attached on his wrist. But it's like he did like like a frosted airbrush around it, and I'm very impressed by this. I think it would be really cool to have that stuff for like Invisible Woman and other characters, like even like just a shield, like a big shield where it's just slightly frosted around the edge. Super cool. Anyways, he's working on other Hanna-Barbera customs. Really cool guy. Just I sent him a sticker. He he was showing off his not showing off, but just showing me the progress of his Birdman, and I saw that he had stickers all over his desk, and I was like, "You want one of mine? I'll send you one." And he said yes, so I sent him one, and it came in today. I hand wrote him a letter or at least an envelope. I hand wrote the address on there, so I put some effort into it. I just want that's just me like making myself look really good. But I did it immediately so I wouldn't forget because I'm horrible. All right, let's get back to this. So now I've moved over to a larger drill bit, and we're gonna try to drill a little bit of a larger hole because we're gonna need a stronger screw to go in here to make sure this can hold. Because like I said, this also has to twist, and that's where my worry comes from. Sometimes these repairs don't work uh, at all, really. Um, so if not, like I said, I'll have to create a new one. And the problem you run into, and the reason why generally they don't work, is because they just don't get enough grip in here, or they split. A lot of times it'll split right here, which can still be fixed, but I'm always a little nervous about doing these. Just because honestly, when it comes down to it, I'd rather have a full piece of plastic. Just a That's why you see me making my own joints or pegs these days. Cause what's up, my man Samurai Chris is here. Man, gosh, I need to start doing these on Saturdays. You guys are available today. I love seeing all you guys in the same room. That's really really cool. Um, let's find a screw. Okay, so these are the old smaller screws. I think this would probably work. So you're probably asking yourself at this point, how do you make this work, right? Because we have this really long peg, and a lot of times what I would do is I drill all the way through, right? So it's got a nice secure hold, and then we put it on here. Well, it's just a little, this is just a little too much. So what you can do is you can put this screw in here, and a lot of times you can heat this up. You can heat the screw up with a lighter, and you can put it in here, and it will make a threading for it, an impression, if you will. Let's go ahead and try to see if I can't grip this better. Just gotta be real careful that we don't break it. Let's see, we're not getting a good grip. Now, some of these are cheap screws, right? Like, they're not expensive at all. And I just broke my freaking drill bit off in there. I just didn't want that to happen. That didn't even give any, there was no warning to that one. Shoot. Okay, how far did it go in? Mm. Yeah, look at that. Nothing. Nothing. Oh my god, it's the worst. This is the worst thing that happens ever. It's just gonna, so what this does is whenever you try to drill out a piece like that, it just melts the plastic. But sometimes you can get off a little bit to the side, get a little bit of it out. So we'll see if this is, I don't trust it now. Now I don't have the grip that I would want from my screw. It's really loose now, so we need a larger, stronger screw. I think I've got some medium ones here. Let's see. This might end up working out in our benefit. This might end up not. And we might have to just make a new joint. Ugh, god dang it. I hate it when that happens. I hate that. Alright, so that's a really nice grip. So we've got a really good grip on the inside here, so we might have lucked out. This is a stronger screw too, so that's always good. And we have more to work with, so let's see what happens, right? You can't heat it up and push that piece out like that because there's no push out. This is hard plastic. You might be able to. I don't even think you could use a sink on this. Like, it's just not gonna work. It's basically what happens is that little piece just breaks off down there, and you're just kind of left with what you're left with. It sucks. It sucks. I'm gonna go ahead and back that up a little bit. I don't trust this not jumping on me, and I don't want to drill my finger today. I don't want to do that. Let's try to keep this in the center here. So now we've used probably every little piece of this of real estate that we have left here. Let's see if we can twist this in without splitting the plastic. I've used a larger drill bit now. It looks like it's splitting. So I'm not able to like press it and break it. So technically this might still work. Let's give it a shot, if anything, so you guys can at least watch this happen. Okay, so what we're going to try to do here is we're going to clip this screw, right? And we're going to see if we can't get this to, probably have to sand off the edge. So now what we have is we've clipped off the end bit, and we've got this left. Nothing but threading, which is great. I wish they just made them like this. Just a long, like a 1-inch piece of just nothing but threading would be great. Okay. So first off, let me see if this thing will even work. Pardon. Let me get my safety googles on. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna try to see how that's just kind of wiggling around. That's why I don't like that. See if this will work for us. Let's see here. Alex Sepsaras. Am I saying that right? What do you make new joints? Polymer clay? No, I use plastic. Whatever I can find. I bought, so McFarlane figures tend to go on clearance. Marvel Legend figures tend to go on clearance. So I'll grab a lot of those, and like for example, like so these little pieces right here. Oh, sorry, I've got like this thing to stop the shadow. So these pieces right here are great. You can shave these down and whatnot. I also have just like a ton, and I mean a lot, of old Figma, Revo joints and stuff like that that I bought ages ago for exact situations where I need a certain color or whatnot that I repair stuff out of. So it's pretty cool to see that come into fruition. They used to be able to buy tons of joint lots on eBay for like dollars, and now they're treated like gold for some reason. So I just have to basically take pieces of plastic and make something new. For an example, and this is where it goes way more extreme, but so this right here is a knee joint from the NECA Street Fighter Ken. I believe this was a bootleg. Either way, it was in my fodder bin from wherever it came from years ago. And so what I've done here is, since you won't be actually seeing the legs on here, is I've taken another one of these and actually fashioned it into a knee joint, which is not in my box. That's weird. That's why old double underscore earlier told me to clean my desk off. That's not good. Where did I put it? Oh, whoops, sorry. It's over here. I had it sitting on my a holder here. So what I did was I took this, right, and I have grinded it down into this shape. Like right here, you can see a lot of it's been cut off. And once again, this will not be visible because it'll be covered with soft goods. And so now here's your kind of a knee joint. Both of them broke on the client. So I've had to basically turn this into this. And you can see this one's about halfway done. On the other side, you've also got a peg here. So I've had to shave all of this out. As you can see, this was just solid. And so I've used my Dremel to do that. And then we can take these pieces here that are the larger, maybe it's on this side. So this is the larger piece. You can see that it's a nice solid fit. And then you've got this piece here, which probably still needs a little bit of work. And you can take these pieces right here. And I drilled a hole right there, which I might have to re-drill because I actually covered this up with some adhesive to kind of fill out. You could see the factory holes that were from here where the pegs went through. They're like right here and they're very close to this. So I just covered this up with some adhesive and a little bit. And so I have to go back in and do a little more just to reinforce it. But anyways, that's what I mean by when I make a joint. I literally take a piece of existing plastic and I make a new one. And that right there is a lot of work. It really is. That's probably a good 2 hours already on one. And then the worst is when you have to do another one. So I've got to do another one of those, but either way, it's for the client. So not complaining. Just it just is. Whenever I explain to people, hey, I'm making a joint, it's a lot of work. All right, let's get back to this. Hopefully I didn't lose that. Oh, I hope I lost that piece that we just grinded down. That'd be great because I got sidetracked. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. So we just sanded this down, and what I'd like to see is if it will fit. It'd be nicer if this would actually fit into this piece, the flat piece, because you don't want the sharp, smaller end going into this piece. The reason why is because you want it to be at the thickest point of your screw when it goes in here, so you have more to grip onto. If you do like the smaller, sharper bit, it has a chance to not only screw into here but also go into the hole, and then it's that messes up with your articulation. You know what I mean? Like you can't plug it back down onto the peg because now you've got this little piece in the hole, and it's a whole mess. Oh, what's up, Chrisman? Nice to see my voice back. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, dude. I am definitely getting there. I'd say I'm probably about 85%. I'm feeling good enough to do a stream. And that's what's up, man. I almost didn't do one, dude. I was like, and not because I don't feel good, but because tomorrow I won't be able to stream. I might do it for like my patrons. I might do it in the Discord streaming or something like that. But I'm gonna be getting my first tattoo, and my dude's coming to my house to do that, and it's just so happens to be he was available during my normal streaming time, so that's gonna be happening. So maybe we'll do that. What's up, Goob? Classic Goober, he's in the house. Thanks for showing up, guys. Jeez. Aaron Hardy, I'm curious, if you had a screw that was gripping well, would you still glue it? Yes. In fact, just fixed the sole of Chogokin Lepardon Wondering if I should glue it. Yeah, dude. So I always do, just because, especially if it's gripping well, all that is gonna do is just ensure that hold stays. I always lace my screws with an adhesive. That JV Super Weld stuff is amazing. This guy right here. Um, in fact, I've got this on subscribe and save on Amazon. It's pretty good. Um, you need to let it sit for a bit, but let's try this real quick before I. So here's a trick that I learned. Let's see if I can find my. Where's my guy? Where's my fodder guy at? Here we go. Got this McFarlane dude here, and so I take. We'll just go ahead and we'll drill into the chest here. All right, so that creates a hole, and this is the same one I was using a minute ago. And what I'm doing is we're going to test in this hole to see if this screw that we've cut is going to actually fit in, or do we need to drill more off? You know what I mean? Like, so where we sanded it down earlier, we cut this edge off, right? Because this is a very complicated repair we're doing right now. But what we want to make sure that this thing will insert into a hole properly and not just grind away the plastic. Because if you didn't get that ending correct in here, if it's still like off-centered or something that's stopping the threading from actually threading, then what it will do, that end will just grind away the plastic. And it's actually, it might look like it's going in, but the only reason it's going in is because it's grinding out a big fat hole in there. And we don't want that. We want it to go into an impression, basically, a threading. And it did just work. It went in there. So let me double check that one more time. Sometimes I get a little backwards. I think the screw is always going to be righty-tighty, even if it's backwards like that, but you just want to make sure. Yeah, this is weird. It's almost like I'm making a Penance custom. You guys remember him? You remember Penance? Old Speedball? For you comic readers. Okay, so what we want to do is we want this to go into this guy here. We want to be able to watch where this is screwing into. Go in. This might take a little bit. Might take a couple tries here. All right, let's see. Let's go in kind of crooked. I don't like that. We want to go in straight. Maybe it's the hole that was drilled into this that's messing it up. Let's see. We do not have a lot of room here for error, so we'll see if this works. Another thing you can do is if this just starts getting too messed up, you can always like make another, like the circle piece right here that we're trying to work with right now. A lot of times I try to use the factory because the color is going to match proper, which is important because you can actually see where this goes in. And I can't seem to get it to hook properly. Let's see if this will work. I think we might have got it just now. Before you ever lace it with glue, you want to try the whole thing, see if this will. I can't tell if this is actually working or not. Nah, it's not. Well, that's really strange. Let's see if we can sand off a little bit of it. It's working on the other guy, but This other figure over here also has softer plastic, so this might need to be a completely perfect cut, or this, like I said, this might just not flat out not work. But we want this to be able to go all the way in, especially straight. For some reason it's wanting to go off script on me here. All right, so it definitely is working. It's definitely got a hold. Looks like it just needed to be straightened or sanded off. Let's see if this works. So I'll add a good amount of. Let's see if this JB Super. Oh man, I hate it whenever your adhesive gets blocked. Go. I added a large amount of it on here, mainly because it was an accident, but also I was definitely pressing harder than I normally do, and the reason why is I actually want to add a good amount on the end here, just because, like I said earlier, since you're using so little real estate here on this guy, you want it to. You run into the issue of it maybe cracking the plastic there on one side, kind of splits the seam a little bit. Because keep in mind, we've got about maybe a 1/9 of an inch that we're able to work with here. So we have to be very careful as to how we approach this. Okay, I think that's as good as we're probably going to get about 3 full twists in there. You can see it's kind of bent. I don't think I trust this at all. See how it's just wiggling. Yeah, I think what happened was there's just not enough room here, or the screw isn't working properly, or it could be a plethora of deals. The problem I'm seeing right now is that this isn't really twisting all the way through. Okay, there's our grip. Okay, we found our grip. I think it just needed to go in a little further. I still don't know if I trust this one though. This, like I said, sometimes you can get away with using the factory, and sometimes you just can't. And this might work. It feels like a pretty good hold. The problem though that we've run into now is that since I had to press this in so far, is that it's now just taking over a lot of the area that we actually need to put it back on. Meaning we have to take a sanding bit or a small, this is what I like to use right here. I'll show you guys. Kind of a messy repair right now. Something like this. It's got a cone shape to it. We'll use our little Dremel keyless chuck here. All right. We can see if this will work. Basically what could happen here is it could heat up so much, or if it's just not, if it doesn't have a good enough hold, then it can take this off. Because we want this to be a circle, you know? So what we're doing right now is basically making this round, and you would be really careful. You want to only hit that screw part. You don't want to be messing with the plastic. If you make the hole bigger, then it's not going to fit properly. You also want to be careful as to not heat it up too much. If you heat up that screw too much, it's going to melt right through that plastic. All right. See if that Still pretty good. And I will see if we can't flatten this out, because right now, like I said, whenever it gets to the edge, you start running into this, like where this is going down, but right about here it starts hitting this edge, and what you need to have is a flat circle. If it's not flat, it won't rotate properly. This is a very delicate repair we're messing with right now. And now we've chipped away some of our screw, so that's always fun. Like I said earlier, that was great that the drill bit broke off in here. It's wonderful that happened. I love it when that happens. I feel like sometimes like the mistakes that I make on camera are meant to happen, so I can show you guys what happens whenever you're in the middle, because that happens a lot. What happens if you're repairing something and you make the problem worse? What happens? What do you do? So I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be. And I don't claim that all these repairs work. But most do. That's a pretty good guarantee. I don't think that's actually a guarantee at all. No, everything that I put a tutorial up for has worked. So just so you know. But there's a really cool, this looks really cool actually. It's like a super flat, like the metal has merged with the plastic here. And a lot of times that can happen. It can heat up. As long as you're not pressing on it like bending while you Dremel, what can happen there is it heats up and it kind of melds in there with the plastic, and science takes over. I actually have to take a photo of this because I think it looks so cool. Like, I've done these a few times, but this right here, like, man, if you want to look professional, this is it. It's like the perfect sanding down of this like deal. You guys gotta see this. It's amazing. Since you probably can't see it from there, I'll take a photo of it and show you. So look at how we've cut. You see how the screw is cut down like that? So we've literally cut half the screw out right there, which is pretty cool. And just give you an idea as to how small that is. It is this small that you just looked at. It's pretty wild. 9th. But Bill, your hair is perfect. I don't know about that. It's actually like longer on one side than it. Look at this. Look how long it is on this side compared to this side right here. This side curls up really bad. But I'm pretty sure it's also shorter. I think it's because I sleep on my left side. So you sleep and you like pull it out. Yeah, look at that. It's like much. Look, this is beauty, and this is like just trying to catch up. You know. I don't know. That's the way the world works. All right, let's see if we can't. All right, isn't that crazy? Let's see if we can't get this. We're gonna use one beside. We're not gonna use our official one yet. I want to see just how hard this is going to be to screw in, because the last thing I want to do now is like break the hold that's on our current one. See how far we went in. That's pretty far. I just want to make sure that this whole thing is going to be able to screw in here without me having to too much pressure could snap this hold, and we don't want that. So far, that's doing really well. Let's go in one more time with this. I want to just make sure that we've got, like I said, enough room to put that all the way in. That's good. Okay, so we used our one that's not broke for that. And what we got to do here, the biggest risk that we're going to run here, besides obviously breaking the hold, which looking pretty dang good right now, is it's going to need to end up on the correct side of things. And what I mean by that is it needs to be, let's see, we put the drill, so it's going to need to end up right here. That's where this needs to end up. It has to be right here. There's no fudging this. It has to be right there. And so before we put any glue on, we want to make sure that this is going to fit right where we need it to. Let's go ahead and see if it'll. Man, it's getting tighter way sooner than I'd want it to, and I think that's because we got some adhesive on the dang screw threading here. Whenever I put too much of the when I put all that adhesive on here. So what you can do, if that's a situation, you can go in with your razor blade, kind of go around these threadings here and see if that'll break free some of this this adhesive here. Like I said, we don't want to break this while we're sitting here working with it. And again, I mean, I don't know, this is a pretty risky repair. I'm just trying to make sure that, I wonder if we can get a nice grip right here. Because what you always want to do is, if you can, if possible, you don't want to tighten it via the plastic. You want to tighten it via the screw. Know what I mean? Because if you tighten it via the plastic, you risk breaking that hold. And that's what we don't want. Okay, I think this needs a whole revolution turn. Which might work and might not. Let's see what happens here. Like I said, we want to really try to hold on to this screw bit and not the plastic. I'm going to tighten it via the screw, not the plastic. Let's see, how does this, let me make sure I'm doing this right real fast. This goes here, and this goes up in this. How does this, I think it's supposed to go in like so. Let's see how this fits real fast. Because it's got like a weird, like this part right here is longer and this piece right here is shorter. So just want to make sure. It looks like the longer part is definitely there in the front, which means it would go in like this, which means it would go in like that. Look at that. That might actually be, that might be what we want. Okay, so what we'll do here, looks like that fit the way we wanted it to fit. We want to take it out. Okay, let's do it from this side. Righty, left. We're gonna. Okay, that one won't work. Ah, man. I clipped it too hard and broke it. Man, I don't know if I have any blue plastic that's that color, or that might have just been a little too risky. Here's an old one. This guy right here. This is from, I think, a Superman. Let's see. And it's a slightly bit different, but it's close to the same, I guess. I don't know. They keep trying to use this same thing, and this was like from a Superman. Like I said, I could just probably twist this and snap it off. Yeah, glue doesn't hold it at all. So now what I need to do is probably form a, I guess make one from scratch. Probably would have been. It's one of those things where like I like to try it at least. But there's your proof that sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to. The biggest issue with this guy right here though is like how it's matching. I don't think I just don't think I can match that color blue. It's such a it's a lighter blue. So as I was showing you earlier, so there's a bunch of that's just like a ton of work right there that I don't charge for, and just a colossal could be considered a colossal waste of time and energy, I guess, but that's your call, I guess. Um so like I said, that blue is very I have like one blue one in here, but this thing is so long. So what I usually would do is what I would want is to get the piece connected. We could potentially still use this here. We still have our hole drilled. Um, we what I would rather have is a completely solid piece done for it. But you could take, so here's what we could probably do is take something like this, although it's not the same blue. I'd rather find the same blue. That's not it. This is like the hard part. Like a little bit darker here, but I don't know, that might work. Hell, you could probably even utilize this. So like I said, I've got this old piece right here, but you kind of run into the same situation. Is it's all a gamble. It's like, is the hole we're about to drill, is it going to work? First off, that's always the big deal. And it's all about the hold. Is the hold going to be strong enough? You won't know until you're done and you test it. Now there's a few jobs that I just outright I'd like to say that I know this is going to work. You know what I mean? Like you go in and you do it and you're like, yeah, this is going to work. But these repairs like this, a lot of times, like these guys right here are the ones that I would send off to Corey at Casting Cave so he could cast these for me. But you know, I don't want to. It's it's not a real great, in my opinion, it's not a great usage of his time and skills. It's just really it's a favor for me, but just trying to see what might work here the best. Because it almost feels like you could utilize like I'm just thinking this through right now. But you could almost like drill further into here, make it larger, and insert, like, kind of cut the plastic out a bit and insert it inside this hole just a little bit to create a better hold. So it's a screw with almost maybe a plastic cone, if that makes sense. Almost like creating like a wedge going inside of that. And I might give that a shot because I feel like I'd feel a little bit better on that one. I just don't think that this one that I found is going to be, like, I'd rather have more to work with, you know what I mean? Like, how much room we've got here. I don't think this is going to be big enough. I think it's going to be too small. Yeah, I think it's going to be too small. Damn it. So yeah, trying to find that right color plastic is really hard. And I had some of these from before, and I guarantee you, I could make that that older Superman-like joint work. I don't know where those are. I had some made a long time ago that were out of this like blue plastic. And another thing that I used to use, and it's really cool, is this, and I guarantee it's the same color and size. I bet I could make one out of it. I have to find it. They're basically electrical outlet covers, and they're round, and they are the perfect color blue. I found them by random chance at my grandfather's place. He had just like scrap plastic and whatnot just kind of scattered around in a junk bin, and I found it, and it just so happened to be the exact same color blue on the NECA um, Christopher Reeve Superman. If you guys remember that thing, it just fell apart, right? Um, but it just so happened to be the right color blue, and so I ordered a bunch of that stuff, and now I'm not sure where I put all of that. I think it might be up in the. Give me a second. I think it might be up on my shelf over here. And you guys, I think, will get a kick out of this. This is a pretty crazy one. See if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So usually they come in circles, but I was having trouble finding them at one point, and I do have some of the circles around here somewhere, but it's this. It's like this color blue. You can see that. I mean, it's not going to get better than that. That's an insanely good deal. And the coolest thing about this stuff is that you can actually, it adheres really well. So what I'll usually do is like take a piece and see if I can't, yeah, you can't even like bend it without it like stressing. Let's see if I can, I'll show you guys my method if you're interested in this. It's kind of neat. So I'll take a, god dang, it's really durable. Let me get this. I've got some clippers here that I'm using. We'll clip this like so. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll take this here. Let's see. We'll do it right here. Let's get rid of these. Like we've got these holes. God, it's so strong. It adheres really well to itself too. So what I'm trying to do right now is cut this, and then I can glue two halves together. Then we've got ourselves a fresh block of plastic, right? And what we can do with that is we can start sculpting. Jesus. Piece came out of nowhere. Let's see if we can't clip this a little more. Oh, where are my bolt cutters? Why am I doing this to my hands? It's going to create arthritis is what I'm doing. Big pliers, but no bolt cut. Found them. How not to hurt your hands. See how easy that is? Okay, so what we do now is we take this piece like so, and we'll just glue it. We're just going to glue it together. Now, what you want to do as well, smart thing, is take either a piece of sandpaper or take a like a drill, sanding bit. Just kind of, and we kind of make a little bit of a indentation, like an impression, right? You always want to sand this stuff before you adhere it. It's always a really good idea to sand pieces down before you adhere them. Oh, here we go. Here's a little sanding block. I think this is one of my wife's nail blocks. So you take it. See if we can't get a good grip on it here. We'll sand it down just a little bit. And what this does is it just creates some grip on there. You can feel it. It's just kind of got a less smooth, just more grip. I think this will work. We'll just have to do it on one side of each. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just get a nice even sanding going on. And what we can do with this one actually is we can use Loctite gel. Would probably be quicker, but I don't know if I have an unopened one on me. We might actually just have to go super well. The stuff's still phenomenal, and we'll always. I mean, this is actually in the plumbing section at Walmart, which is pretty cool. So you know it's good for holding plastic together under pretty serious circumstances. So we're gonna. What I've done is I put a nice little dab and then just evenly spread it out. You don't need like a crazy amount, and we're gonna just try to get this to where we know we're gonna be able to use a good chunk of whatever's attached here. So we're going to be using this midsection right in here, right? Yeah. Dude, yeah, Keeper. These Creeper, sorry. I keep calling you Keeper. Creeper. These are amazing. This stuff right here, and like I said, it adheres really, really well. In fact, if you find the circular pieces, which I've got, you can buy them on Lowe's for really cheap, or Home Depot. I just had them shipped to the house, and I bought a ton. I've got a stack somewhere around here. This is what I had to settle with at first, and for some reason, this is the only one I could find. This stuff still works, but I prefer the round ones because it's just a sheet of, and it's actually this thick. It's as thick as two of these. And you can even see the seam in there. So sometimes whenever you're working with those right out of the gate, they can actually split in half. So you sometimes have to go back in and re adhere them. We're gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then we'll go in and we will create this. Since I lost my piece, I don't really have a template, but what I can do is another thing we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we're gonna glue this Superman joint on here, and this will be our template for now. I'm pretty sure the pegs will line up pretty well, because I just don't have really the faith that this would hold, and I don't want to send this back to a client and it not work. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on there. I think that's pretty good. And what this is gonna do is we're gonna be able to take this and we can kind of, set it down and see where we are. What I'll be doing is I'll be doing this part first, and then because this ending part is the easiest to basically fix. We won't have to get this exactly perfect, but we'll come close. We don't want it to be wiggly in there, but so we'll probably start with like a square, circle, and then this little cylindrical part that goes down the center here, and I think that'll be good. Feels pretty good. We could probably start cutting on this. And if it does happen, like I said, if it happens to split on us, we can always just re-adhere it, just because the vibration in there. And like I said, we just glued this. You saw me just glue this, so that's where we are. You can even, like, if you wanted to, I mean, I usually eyeball it, but you can even, if you wanted to, take this and maybe, you could mark it with like a pen, just to give yourself that extra little, I don't know, whatever works for you. So yeah, let's do this. This is gonna get messy. So we're gonna go ahead and take all of our pieces here that we were thinking about using for this guy. We're gonna go ahead and shut this. Since this does get a little dusty before we start, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're having a little bit better luck than I did with that first little run repair. And I'd like to get this, I think I'll knock this one out today. I think this will be the repair we do today, just to at least get one done. Like I said, I got boxes and boxes and boxes of repairs that came in, but I at least wanted to give you guys something this weekend, because I won't be streaming tomorrow. You always want to be careful when you're dremeling a lot, as this stuff can get very, very dusty. Let's see if I can't avoid fogging up my dang glasses. That's the worst. These are usually pretty good about it. Can't remember if it's like you put the mask. Is it under, over? All right. Let's stare at my crotch here. I don't know if these are gonna work or not today. It's the worst trying to get a mask that it just works. Okay, here we go. I wonder if I could set this up where you guys can get a better shot. If it cuts out, hang tight. There's my goods. Okay, so let's focus on that. All right, let's get it going. Start off, kind of smooth it out. I'm gonna get rid of some of this junk first. We want to leave a little handle, right? Something to keep a good grip. And so our grip is going to be right here, since we're going this way with it. And what you want to do first is kind of get rid of any of these little anomalies in here, like these little circular bits, if that is the case. Because basically we're going to turn this into our handle right here. Since we're doing that last, we're doing this peg part last. And that's where this is going to be. So let's go ahead and start fleshing it out. Any kind of junk parts. All right. We want to get rid of any of these little extra junk bits. Don't let it pile up too much. You want to make sure you shave off that stuff, as it can get in the way. It can make your Dremel jump, and you don't want that. Okay. Okay, so this little hook piece right here is kind of just kind of in the way. This right here. So instead of, I think we could probably just cut this. See if we can just cut this out. Okay, cool. So that we just used our bolt cutters there. So we've got this, and this is what we're aiming for, right? Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start rounding the edge here, right? I'm going to round this all the way out. Damn it, Nico. You can see the seam on there. Dang, dude. Come on now. You can always use like the edge here of your Dremel to kind of shape it. It almost cuts it. Okay. And once again, the reason why I doubled up on this stuff is because you can always see here how this is like kind of has an indent, right? You can see that from up there. How this is off closer, off centered. So whenever we, if you would have just done this on a flat plane on one of them, you might have been able to get away with it, but it's going to be real tight. And I don't want that. We want to make sure that we've got plenty of room to play with. And so that's what we're doing here. Yeah, so let's go ahead and keep rounding this out here. We kind of already had a divot off to the side so we could use. And a lot of times what you can also do is kind of come in at an angle to where it starts rounding it out, because you will notice that on here, it definitely is rounded on the edges. It's not even flat down. It's just a bit rounded out. So you can always do that like this. Come in at an angle. And another thing you can tell on the seam, right where the seam cuts, now that is about the same, maybe a little thicker, but it's about the same width, okay? So that's a really good guide for you, for where this is gonna hit. And we could shave that down to that width in a minute, to that thickness. Right now, we just wanna get the basic shape. All right. I always like to start off bigger, because then we can make it smaller. If you go too small, it's going to be a lot more work. Okay. Let's see. See where we are. We're on the edges here. And you got to be careful too whenever you're doing this. You want to make sure that you're not neglecting like the very top, because then you can start getting this kind of a pointed, almost like a oval shape, and you don't want that. You want to circle as seen here. So, pardon. I'm gonna make sure that you're keeping it as round as you can. It's difficult because trying to make a perfect circle with the human hand is definitely a hard thing to do. And we always want to kind of stop, look at it again, keep an eye on this thing. So about the width of the circle is maybe slightly larger than this little weird hook thing, this little box that we've got going on here, right? And we can also see that this little box piece kind of hooks up a little further on this side. So we're gonna start and then where that box ends, about right here, is when we're gonna start doing our rounded bit. So just get the shape of it. Okay. Let's start working on this over here. All right. And we're just going to start shaving this down, because it's got to be very small. So be careful to watch your fingers. So we had a lot more here at the bottom. And so what we want to do is kind of chunk this way. What you can do is take a razor blade here and just kind of scrape against the edges where all these little junk bits are, and it'll just cut them off nice and smooth. Like so. Real easy. This stuff is like, it's really great to work with. I mean, it is messy. As you can see, it's got a lot of, you know, excess that comes off. It's not super dusty, but it is, you know, you scrape it and whatnot off. And we'll use a dustpan and a vacuum to get rid of all of that. But get back to it. Okay, and you can see how it's slightly starting to take shape. Here's our piece, right? So it's going to be in this area where we're working with. So we've got plenty to cut off right here. You can see this needs to be shaved down a little bit more. And like I said, you just go larger at the beginning, and we will do probably this part right here kind of comes last. We got to shave this bit, you know, because you want to be really careful right there. You don't want to be holding on to that, the most fragile part of the actual joint, while you're trying to make it. So keep going. And we're going to start forming these boxes in a little bit better. There's a lot to shave off right here. So we want to try to keep this flat and straight. And this is not a race, so do take your time, man, because this takes a lot of time. Like, it literally does. You're literally making this shape from nothing. Okay? So take your time with it. Learn from it. Enjoy it. Feel it out. There we go. What I'm doing right now is that last little peg part, kind of giving it a little, kind of rounding it out a little bit more, so we could see how straight our line is going right now. This bit right here could be shaved down a lot more. We don't want it to be curved. You want a straight peg. Definitely want to make sure that the peg isn't like leaning, going somewhere else. We want it to be a nice straight piece that we got going on here. It's almost like you're trying to whittle out a, like, you remember like the Game of Life? If anybody played that, like the old board game, those little, the characters that went in the cars were kind of, it's essentially what that is. Man, I wish they made those bigger now. That would be like the perfect, I bet you anything, I bet you if those were a little larger, somebody out there probably has a 3D print file for the peg pieces for the Game of Life. That'd probably be making some joints for figures at this point. All right. Get back to it. I'm going to carefully kind of sculpt this out. This needs to be a lot smaller, a little closer. This needs to be way smaller and closer. Scrape that off. And I'll tell you, man, these freaking joints and pegs are always smaller. It feels like they're always smaller than you think they're going to be. So, put these up while we use the old razor blade. And so we can cut off a little bit more here. Okay, you want to stay down, that's fine. Nope, can't see. Alright. So yeah, let's get rid of this little junk piece, little junk excess pieces here. And even though this takes infinitely longer to do than the other way, at least we know we have this solid piece of plastic, and that's what, you know, we can be confident in knowing that this is how this is going to work out for us. So way more durable, solid piece the way it's meant to be. All right, let's take a look here. What do we got? Okay, so we've got our, this is starting to be, this shape up here is pretty close as far as size goes. And really we just got to start shaping out everything else. Just make it smaller. The thing we might need to do here though is to swap over to a smaller sanding bit. Much smaller really, because see what we got here. This one's pretty good, and I like that little one that I had a minute ago. This guy right here. The problem with it is it's angled, so I mean, I guess that's not really that big of a deal. But I like it whenever they're flat like this, like a solid piece, the flat all the way. It's not like you can't angle your hand, but you know, you like to kind of come in here, and these pieces are so dang small and intricate that we might actually have to use this guy because of the precision. You can see that, like right in here, there's just not a lot of room to play. So let's see what happens when we use this guy now. We'll keep this kind of in front of us. In fact, I might prop it up. Maybe we can do this. Use my, oh shoot, I just snapped my dang magnifying glass. Dang it. This is a cheap set anyway. Got a little soldering set here. A little cheap one, but I use this a lot for setting like super glue and all that. But you can keep this in front of you like so. That way you can look down and have a reference kind of right in front of you, and you don't have to hold it. Let's see, this side's higher up, so we're gonna use this right here as our little brick area. Looks like super small, so we're going to go ahead and kind of draw it out on the front of the plastic. Right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but kind of drew it, just kind of grind it in a little bit. It's going to be way shorter, so it's actually right here. You kind of just hold your Dremel there, kind of slowly rotate. And so what that does, it gives us a little nook here. Show you what I'm doing. Try to cut away some of that debris. It's just a small little nook that we've created here using a finer drill bit. So you can see it's kind of starting to shape up. So kind of coming at an angle here a little bit. Trying to keep that that shape right here. It's like a little higher on this side. And so we can kind of come on this side here where we were over there and Dremel that out. And now what we can do is that now that we've got those pieces kind of drawn out and shaped, we can bring this guy back in. Follow those spots that we cut. Kind of shave around the bottom here. You kind of rotate it around your finger like that. You gotta be careful here. I'm kind of getting a little crooked. You can see just how bad that is. It's like kind of crooked off to the side. So we'll cut this here. That happens sometimes. You'll be sitting there kind of working on it and it looks straight. You look at it again and you're like, oh man, I was really going off script here. So yeah, this is kind of the process that you're going to be dealing with if you're making something like this. That's probably why somebody out there was like, you know what, I'm going to create a computer program that can just print these. Now, I could be wrong about this, but it feels like the filaments and the resins that they use in printers these days don't seem to be as... Now, maybe there's one out there that can do it, but I wonder how strong these 3D prints really are compared to this stuff. I'm sure there's some great resin out there for that. Des Rev Fan. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, wait. Is that like Destiny Resident Evil fan? Am I picking up on that right? Thank you for coming over. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is I usually don't stream on Saturdays, but like I said, I'm getting my first tattoo tomorrow, and I won't be streaming tomorrow. Not at least a repair. Maybe we'll stream the tattoo. Who knows? But right now we're making a joint from scratch, and that's what you're witnessing right now. Kind of showing people my method on how to do this. There is no easy way, I guess, to do this. I'm not saying that this is difficult, but this definitely is one of those things that it takes practice, for sure. As you can tell, this is just not one of those things. You could teach this to somebody, but you just, it's not something you might be a natural at it, but it still takes practice, for sure. So we're just going to keep on. I feel like this side's actually turning into the side that's going to be taller. Let's go ahead and do that. All we need to do is kind of do just a sharp edge right inside here. And then we could also start shaping out we'll shape out our circle on the top here. The metal rods, oh god, I love Resident Evil so much, man. I just got around to playing the Resident Evil 2 remake finally, and whew, I've just loved it. You should check out this dude on YouTube is creating Raccoon City from Resident Evil 0 all the way through Outbreak 2, which please bring Outbreak back. But he's creating the entire city, including like the Arcalay Mountains, all sorts of crazy stuff. It's really cool. The metal pieces that I use are they're called eye hook screws, and these are kind of cheaper ones right here, but they look like that. They're little screws that sometimes fall out on your keyboard. There we go. But yeah, so you can get those on Amazon or whatnot. I should be putting up my I've got these links that I can give, and I guess I get money for Amazon if people buy them through there. I'm just terrible at marketing myself like that. It's a lot more work. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so we're gonna just have to make this a little shorter here. Let's hold on to the head here, make sure we're going straight in. And when we've got our shape right, we're gonna have to go back in and shape it down. All right, let's see where we are right now. So what's going to happen is we're about to start having to make it basically smaller the other way around. Our width, we're going to have to shift this over, and then we're going to have to start shaving down, because currently, if you look at this guy, ours is about twice the thickness. But the beauty about that is that we can do this. So for this part right here, like I said, when we cut this thing together, it's like directly in half. Like you can literally see half is where we want this, and so since we already have it, marked out to where the square piece is, then we can turn this around and we can shift it and we can start shaving this part down to match that. And when I mean that, what I swear to, I know that doesn't make sense, right? So let me show you. We're gonna take this and we're gonna cut it down about halfway. All right. Be careful you don't go too far. And just keep it nice and straight. Constantly check to see how much you've taken off, right? Okay. You don't want to go too far, because if you do, you could potentially cut this piece right here. You don't want to do that. So we've got a nice, really good shape going on right now. Let's go ahead and kind of round it out a little more. And remember, like I said, kind of come in, angle it, because this piece is going to be rounded on the edges. All right. I'm going to round that out. Right. So let's go ahead and cut some of this junk up pieces off, right? We want all this nasty stuff off of here. Come around the edges. Don't cut too deep. You just want to take off any of the stuff that's kind of hanging on that shouldn't be. It'll just be a lighter color than anything else on there. Get this out of here. Cut a little bit of that. All right, and now you can see that our piece is starting to take shape, right? Okay, and with that, we're going to go ahead and start cutting down this like our main part here. A little bit on the outside as well here. It's got to be much smaller. Much shorter. We'll go ahead and start rounding out our peg here. And so what you want to do with this peg part too is we're going to get through this peg, but at the bottom of this peg, so the whole thing can be the same width, but you're going to have to put a little divot around the edge there, right? Yeah, I do have those Amazon links, Des. I can hang tight, actually, if you give me a second. I'll give my hands a break real fast. I can put a link for you in the chat. And if you do purchase from this link, I believe it does give me, I guess, something. I'm not sure. It's like the Amazon. My guys know what it is. It's like the affiliates program or something like that. Let me see here. And anything else in here, I've got like I can make links for those as well. It's pretty cool. Let's see. So there's a few different ones, man. There's different sizes, so you can always go through and check and see. But this one right here is a good one that I've used before. And let's copy that, and I'll put the link. Let's see if I can. I thought I got the link. Let's see. Text. Let's see. Copy, and then we'll post it. Boom. So there's a link to some eye hooks. I usually just buy a bunch of different ones because I hate to say this, but sometimes I don't know which one I'm actually gonna get. There's been a few times where I made accidental, like I was like, this is the one I definitely want, and then they come in and there were some really big ones that came in, and I won't lie, they were amazing. Total accident, but they came in and they're phenomenal. They're a lot bigger, so that was really cool. Which might actually be these guys. These are like the 2mm right here. We'll go ahead and copy this one as well for you. And so here's some right there. And those that might get you started. All right, let's go ahead and get back to this guy. We're getting close. Let me cut off this end piece right here, and we want to kind of keep cutting that flat around the square base. Let's see where we at. Oh yeah, we got a lot more to cut off on this side here. Goggles are fogging up here. Well, the back piece of this square is almost like in line with the back of the circle piece. So you kind of line these up, cut a little divot out. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let's make sure we get this cut down straight here. Let's see how long this peg is compared to here. Let's see, we got down to here. probably cut off a little more. There's a lot. This is way longer than it actually needs to be, so it's good. We'll keep this kind of short. Make sure our squares staying flat. I'm just going to keep on cutting this. Alright, let's go back in with this right here with our smaller piece. Do some of the finer detail work. Kind of keep this rounded out. So, let's see where we're at here. I'm gonna get a little bit smaller on this side, like we said. And this bit right here can really be, it can be shortened a bit. Our indention can be made a little deeper. Indention can be made a little deeper on this side. In fact, this side right here on the back might need to be, this might need to be shaved down like dramatically. All right, cool. This is looking pretty good. And something you can do here, before we do it, let me shave this down just a little bit more, and then we'll kind of give it a test. All right, shave it. I'm gonna shave that down. All right, so watch out, my camera's about to freak out. All right, we'll take this. Something fell. Hopefully not important. Nope. Great. We can use this right now. We can use our arm. Let's make sure we got the right side going in here. So we'll come in on this side here, where a piece will pop in. And then this goes down here. Now chances are our peg's going to be a little too big right now because it's too long. So let's go ahead and make it smaller. Get it the right size. Alright. Cut a little more. That's looking pretty good. Let's see if that'll fit. Once again, just to double check, this is where our piece will be going in at. And we want it to be on the right side. So it's going in that far right now. We need it to go in substantially further. And that's totally fine. We just got to make our square piece here much smaller, which we're doing anyways. It's too thick. And just keep it nice and even. Gonna keep making this square piece smaller. Getting to that point now where it's harder to hold because it's so dang small. Oh yeah, man. Des, you're very welcome. I should do that more often, honestly, just to help people out. I think I've got... There might be links to that somewhere, actually, in my, what was it? In the Discord, but... Can't remember if I've got those on my link tree or not. Alright, we're getting a little closer here to being done. And once again, this little square piece in here doesn't really have to be perfect. It's just kind of a guide that leads it into the arm. That's what we'll check this out real fast. Make sure red's on the outside. And this piece slides into here, like so. We probably want to make sure that this is a little more, I guess, off-centered here for our peg before we put it in there, because it is kind of leaning a little bit. Which just needs to be smaller anyway, so that's okay. Cut this shorter. You can come in sometimes with your rounded sanding bit. Kind of get yourself a nice rounded cut right there, which is pretty cool. And then we're gonna make sure this is still on the same side. And I'll show you how to do this cool divot here in a second. Let's see. Let's go this way with it. This is kind of one of the most important parts right here. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get this right. Is the length of from this square peg down to here. We want to make sure that that is pretty dang accurate, because if it's not, you're gonna end up with that peg sticking out. So what you do is a little bit at a time. You can mark it. I'd suggest marking it if you're not good with eyeballing it. Still got a good ways to go here. And if you keep checking it, you'll be fine. If you try to go too far without checking it, then you run into an issue. Alright, so we got it exactly where we want it right now. What I'm going to do is round this out. You definitely want this to be rounded out and smooth, because it's got to insert into this shoulder. And now you've got to take a peg. Hey, my man Captain McKay Random's in here. He says, Billy, just got my first big bad package of the year. Both Last Ronins, 2 Utroms, and Van Helsing Splinter. Oh man, that's going to be a wonderful one. I cannot, I need to ship my... I have one big bad package right now that is sitting there, and it's got the, as my buddy Clayton calls it, Magic Mikey, the shirtless Ronin, and then I've got Hudson from the Gargoyles in there. And I don't know if I just want to go and ship it or just wait. And right now, since I'm cleaning the room and whatnot, I think I might just wait it. Also just finished God of War Ragnarok, playing the previous one last month and loving it. A franchise I've overlooked for too long. I was right there with you, dude. I didn't like the first 3 just because they were too button mashy, although arguably I did love Dante's Inferno. Same thing pretty much, but not. And then, yeah, I played that newest God of War. I've played them all, but I just was like, it's alright, I get it. It's kind of fun to, like, turn your brain off, but with the new ones, you don't turn your brain off. Like, there's so much to them, so much heart, and damn good gameplay. Just wonderful gameplay. I'm in the middle of, I just beat Resident Evil 2 Remake's Leon side, so now I'm on Claire's, and I've got the Callisto Protocol, which is just wonderful. If you're a Dead Space fan, it is made by the original guys that did them, and it's definitely heavily influenced, seeing that they made it, but it's phenomenal. So just been on a super horror kick. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to make this little divot right here. It's basically a little peg divot. And that's what's going to basically keep our peg in place. And what I do is carefully cut with the edge here. That's pretty decent. So, going with our razor blade, cut like so. We just want to make sure that there's a ring all the way around the Rosie here. So, if there's any bit that's not got a divot in it, as soon as you rotate it, it will pop out at that exact spot every single time. You don't want that. Now I'm pretty sure my divot here is a little bit bigger than the factory one, but that's okay. That's okay. So let's take a look at what we've done here. So we have this factory, and we have this as mine. Now keep in mind, this one might actually look a little longer because this was actually the head of a Superman piece, so it's not exactly the same. And what we'll do here is we're going to cut this shorter right here, and then we should be on our way. So let's go ahead and cut that piece a little shorter right here where the square was. Just a little bit. Alright, that should be good. And that'll give us just a little more room to play with here. Go ahead and cut any junk out. And now the next step that we have, and if for some reason, if you cut this too skinny right here, that's okay. We can actually go back through and we can add like a little super glue on the edge here and it'll pop right in. So don't get too worried if you did that. Okay, so next what we're going to do, as you can see here, this piece right here, it's got a hole drilled all the way through in one side, and then on this other side, it's got like a bit of a bowl, kind of a bowl shape that goes down. So here's what we do. We take a drill bit, which I can probably take these off right now. Let's get this off for a second. Ah. Look at my beard. God dang. Alright. Let's tame that tiger real fast. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a... We're going to find a drill bit that is slightly smaller than the hole there. Because we want to make sure that we can put the right size there. Let's see what this one's looking like. That's actually probably perfect, which makes me nervous. I like to go a little smaller, so I get to choose the final size, really. So we'll test it on this one. This is good. This is just slightly smaller. And like I said, Just gives us a little more room to make sure that it's perfect. So let's go ahead and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna drill a hole in the center. All right, so we got our hole in the center here. Got a little excess plastic here. Let's get that off. Cut this a little sharper right here where that piece is supposed to be. Great. Cut off any excess plastic that might still be there. Looks like I got a little off center. That's okay. Oh no, it didn't. It was just off to the side here. Okay. So what we do here is on the outside, which I'll probably need to shave this down a bit. Cool. Putting some final touches here. Okay, so for this little peg piece here, or the divot I was telling you guys about, since we already got our hole drilled, what you want to do is you take a small burr bit about this size, okay? It's a rounded burr bit, and it's about this big right here, right? Oh no, I just dropped my peg piece. Ah, crud. Hang on. Probably don't need it anymore, but just in case we do, I want to make sure we have it. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our burr bit. And we're going to make this little bulb piece here. And so what this is so this peg can basically, since the head of the peg is thicker, it's going to pop in, and so it can't get back out, but it needs just a little bit of room to catch on something, and that's where this comes into play. Now, don't go all the way through, just about halfway maybe. Careful, it will get away from you. And this just very carefully go around in like a bowl shape. And you probably, I don't know how well that's going to show up, but basically does a little bowl shape. And then this right here where we drilled in a minute ago is a hole. So now it's got this bowl shape around the edge, and then we've got a smaller hole on the bottom, which should keep that peg inside and stop it from coming back out, which is what we want. All right, so let's just clean up any mess that we have. We're almost done. Shave some of this off right here. Shave a little bit of this edge off right here. We might actually have to Dremel that down just a little bit. Maybe not. Let's cut off any of this excess stuff because it's gross. We don't want to see it. All right. So now what we do is we're going to take this piece and we're going to run it through here first. All right. Let's see how we're looking. I feel like it's pretty close. I think it's supposed to go in a little further though. So let's change. We can always shave down this square bit a bit more. Make sure all the edges are nice and shaved off. Like I said, this doesn't have to be The square piece doesn't really have to be perfect. Just got to make sure it's going to go in the right length and stop. So let's see. What should be happening right now is when this goes in, this should go all the way out here, and I believe this piece, this peg piece right here, will line up with this blue piece. And to make sure of that, we can take our figure out over here that's actually got his piece out. And so you can see, yeah, right there, it actually is a little, it doesn't go as close to that as, so it's just a little, hangs out just a little more. Make sure, once again, keep forgetting where my piece goes. It's going to go like this. Okay, so this is, once this is pressed in like this, yeah, it looks good. And this comes out right here. I'm hoping that I didn't make the peg too short. If I did, you could actually technically drill a hole through here and add more plastic on. Not like what we were trying to do earlier, but just in case it was just a little short, you can actually fix that problem relatively easy. You can put like a screw on the end of it and just screw in a piece of plastic, and because that's just a peg that needs to go over there, but this should be good. Okay, so let's try and see. Let me just shave this down one more time. I just want to make sure we're completely set. Nice and rounded. I feel like this is our problem right here. I kept noticing it was a little off. I'm pretty sure this is it right here. The bottom of the square piece on this side wasn't completely centered. Okay, so now let's see if we can't take this, get all the junk off, and we should be able to pop this on. Make sure the hole is the right size. I'm assuming it's the same size, like I said before. The one that I'm using as the peg, because, or the hinge, the other piece flew away, so hopefully this will pop on here. And this guy, like I said, I think he was using some adhesive to try to tighten the joint, because I'm picking up on some, there's definitely some junk on here, and I don't want that to cause a problem for whenever we put this on here. Be real careful when you're tightening these joints, guys. A little bit of glue goes a long way, and I'm surprised this one actually needed to be tightened already. Not saying that it didn't, just surprised. Okay, and another thing you can do, if you take this other side and you do the kind of the same thing, only not as drastic. If you just do a small, very, very, very small bowl indentation, just right in the center here with the piece that we did, it makes it a little easier on that peg to go inside of it. So here we go. Let's see if we can pop this on without breaking anything. I think this hole might need to be bigger. Let's just make sure everything's correct before we... Looks like that hole might need to be a little bit bigger. I was wondering, I said a minute ago, I was like, it was a slightly off-center drill, but I think the reason why is because it needs to be a little bit bigger hole. We did use a smaller drill bit, and this is why, because I always like to make sure that I'm able to go back in and make it smaller. So you can kind of do your bowl piece if you want with the drill bit while you're in there. Alright, let's try this again. You never want to force this thing on, because it could just be a big problem. Man, that popped on so well. I hope you guys just saw that. It feels like it was right here. Look at, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this beauty. Wow, man. Not trying to brag, just uh, the tension on this is wonderful. Like, you can see it. You can see how, look at that. There's like no hang up on here. This is very nice. This is exactly what we wanted. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens here. This is really the big moment. We want to pop this in here. Make sure that it's articulating the way we want it to. Shouldn't be popping out. It looks like almost like it could be dremeled down a little bit right here. I wonder if I could pop this back out and shave it down. It feels like I could flatten it out a bit more right here. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. So the very happy with the tension here. The only thing that I'm seeing that I'm not a fan of is it looks like it's just a little bit fatter right here coming out of there. And so let's go ahead and Chrisman, yeah, I could probably hop on for a little bit. I might need to eat first, but yeah, I'll fire up a chat on the Discord. If you guys are Patreons, if you guys want to support some more stuff like this, you can go to at the bottom here. It says patreon.com/BillMaru. They're pretty cheap throughout the month. It's just really support, and also we do Patreon exclusive video chats, which you can ask some of the guys in here, Chrisman, Esteban. They're faithful patrons, but also really good friends of mine. We get to know each other really well in there. It's not just business. We shoot the breeze all the time. It's not safe for work. And I don't know. You get closer with people in there. And I'm not saying they had to pay to do that. It's just a way of me saying thank you for supporting me and whatnot. And we go in there and sometimes these chats go on for hours. I'm not kidding, like hours. Um, we also have a free Discord you can join. I'm always available for you to ask me questions and stuff like that too, so try to make myself as available as possible. Basically, these guys are keeping it free for everybody else when it comes down to it. Yeah, we have a really good time in there. 1010, Christmas says he would sell his soul again. Yeah, I appreciate you guys a lot, man. It's super cool. And of course, there's never any pressure, but just really appreciate it. Goes a long way in my book. I support a couple Patreons myself, just because I believe in the artists and whatnot. And I think it's cool if you can spare a few bucks for toys. You can dang sure spare a few bucks for your fellow artists out there. So I do that. Not saying you have to do that, but I do that. Try to lead by example, right? Okay, so let's shave this down a little bit more. We're just kind of fine tuning right now. There we go. I think that might have been it. This is such a solid sculpt. I'm very proud of myself that I've stuck it through and done this stuff because man, it's so good. I mean, it's just like an artist out there writing or becoming a great artist, illustrator, animator, shooter, director, writer. All that stuff takes practice. And I know this is very niche, but it's my niche and I like it. And I thank you guys for always supporting me and being here and learning from it. That's my biggest deal is I love the fact that when somebody says, "Oh, I was able to fix my toy because of what I learned from you." And that is amazing. But it's not just learning from me, it's also the fact that they did it. They did it themselves. Had the confidence then to go ahead and try it themselves. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna cut one little more notch in here because I'm noticing. Check this out. When this goes back, it's stopping right there, and I think we can give him a little more range. Once again, this is a very advanced technique, so you know, especially with what I'm doing right now, when I'm dremeling with it attached to the factory arm, that's not something you want to do if you're not used to handling a Dremel, because it can get away from you. Trust me, this finger's still healing up, so even as a person who's been using a Dremel for over 15 years, those things can still surprise you. Okay, yeah, look at this. Oh, this is so much better. Yeah. All right. So where did our little arm piece go? Okay, cool. Here's our arm piece. Let's go and stick this on here. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. Let's double check, make sure that's staying off. Good. Okay, now what we need to do is take our shoulder. And hopefully what will happen here is this will just plug right in. It's looking really good, but we'll see, right? So what will happen is it goes in from this side. Here's what we're going to do actually before we do that. We're going to see if it plugs in without it. I think... A lot of times you have to heat this up to pop it out. What might have happened here is I might have made the peg a little too small. So we just might have to add a little glue to it. Yeah, just a little. It's just not hanging on. So that's all right. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Dang it. So literally all you have to do in a situation like that, if this does come up, you can take your adhesive of choice and just kind of just run along the ends here. And basically I'm just kind of putting this all over here just because it just adds a little bit more of a, I would say, a security blanket. But then what you also want to do in the end is you want to take just kind of a healthy amount, like so, and just put it along the edge, like kind of the edge here. And it creates like this kind of a bulb, essentially on the end. And then you can kind of take, let's see, we'll use this crappy one here. Kind of this flathead here and just kind of scrape it away from that little divot that we made earlier. And so what this does is once it completely adheres, or not adheres, but I guess dries and solidifies, is that's going to create the perfect little pocket for this guy to pop right in. Just right in there. I wouldn't suggest putting glue on this, putting it in here, and doing it that way, just because there's no real need for it, and I feel like there's a lot of risk in doing that with a piece like that's just this small. It's not necessary. It's not worth it in my opinion. So what we do now is we attach this here and we allow that to dry, which might actually take a little longer due to it being a big, piece of super glue that's just kind of solidify. It works so much better whenever it's sandwiched in a piece of plastic and whatnot. But yeah, you can see here. Oh man, you can't even see. Oh my gosh, what am I doing, guys? I'm sorry. Okay, so we're right here. And I don't know how well that's going to show up, but you can tell that this piece right here, this is the factory one. Just needed, I shaved this one down just a little too small. So just needed that. And right now you can tell that it's pretty much the same size because I just added that chunk of plastic on there. Now, another thing you can do, this is, there, I have a ton of tricks for stuff like this. If you were feeling crazy, you could actually drill a hole down the center of that if you're, steady-handed enough, and you can put a eye hook screw in there, and it will thicken that plastic out just a little bit. It works really well, but there's no real need for that, I guess. I mean, it'd have to be, I don't know. It works, I guess. If that's how you'd like to do it, that's how you can do it. Like I said, if you get a steady hand and whatnot, that's a really good way. If it was, I don't know. That was probably the perfect time to do it, just because of how it didn't. It had like a little bit of tension, but then you popped it out at the end. Really, you just need that little bit of edge on there, and it will stay in. I've got way more to repair, but I think I'm gonna dip out now, just because this was kind of an impromptu thing, and you guys said, "Yeah, let's do it." So let's do it. I'm gonna let this dry. I hate it whenever I leave a stream like this, whenever it's sitting there and I'm like, I promise it works. But yeah, I know the client will be happy. But that's how I make joints from completely from scratch. That was not using a previous joint at all. We took a hunk of plastic and we made that this crazy complicated shape right here, and now it's attached to an arm. But it's getting a little late and I gotta eat, and then I'm gonna hop on the Discord with some of my wonderful patrons and shoot the breeze with them. So as always, thank you guys for showing up. Once again, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe and all that stupid stuff that you have to say, I guess. Do people really need to be told to do that at this point? Do we have to? Do y'all are, you guys are? All right, I get it. Sometimes I think it's like if you're so enthralled in a video that you might forget to hit like. But I don't have to. I know. Look, it says it in the top, right there. Drop a like and sub. I know you guys can read. It's up to y'all if y'all want to like and subscribe. And if you want to be a part of the Patreon, it's down below. I'm going to be offering some classes this year, which I'd really like to focus on. And they'll be paid classes, but if you're part of the Patreon, then there will be discounts on each. The higher the tier, the greater the discount. They won't break your bank or anything like that, so it should be pretty cool. But anyways, I'd like to once again thank you guys for showing up today. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned something. If I was background noise to you, thank you, because that's that's a testament to the voice, right? And the awful Dremel sound that sounds like you're at the freaking dentist the whole time. Anyways, I'm rambling. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. I love you guys, and take care of each other. Don't ever stop taking care of each other. Appreciate you guys. You got me through a lot of stuff, and I hope I've got you through stuff, and we'll have more stuff to go through together. So take care of each other out there, and don't forget that the impossible just takes a little longer. Peace.